Hello fellow Pokemon fans, I'm Brasscoin and welcome to my channel. If you happen to be a returning viewer, why don't you click that subscribe button and stay around a while. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I do Pokemon content and Zelda content here on this channel. And with the recent release of the second trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the leaks have really started pouring in. And with those leaks means a whole lot of theories to go over. If you are familiar with the Pokemon leak community, then you may know that Riddler Coup is currently one of the most reliable leakers in the community. He's been present since the announcement of Pokemon Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and has a really great track record for reliability. There is also another individual that has started to gain some notoriety in the community, and they are known as the Chinese Uncle, or the Uncle for short. This document is a translation of one reported document from the Chinese Uncle and has been making its way around the internet. It has a lot of things that have been proven correct and accurate at this time and has many more that could yet be proven to be correct. From design plot to Pokemon rumors, this document covers a wide spread of topics, but the keynotes I wanted to focus on for my theory are perhaps the most intriguing parts. First is that the new gimmick is described as similar to job changing like Final Fantasy, but with types. And the second is that the leaker claimed that further hints to the game lies within Pokemon Legends Arceus. These are two pretty vague ideas at first glance, but I want to take a dive into what these could mean for Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. That's right everyone, we got ourselves a theory, a Pokemon theory, so let's dive in. Starting off with the new gimmick, the leak indicates that the gimmick will be similar to job changing in Final Fantasy, but with types, like I said a minute ago. If you aren't familiar with this mechanic, the simplified version is that you can switch your weapons and armor and change your job class. Basically, you can swap from a cleric to a barbarian just by changing your weapons and armor. So what could this mean for Pokemon? According to the leak, we'll be able to change our types. The issue I find here is that this is a translated version and we only see the translated version. I can't corroborate what the actual symbol in Chinese was that they used, so types here can be many things. It can be loose. Translations aren't always exact, so it could simply mean forms. We could change our Pokemon forms by changing items, and that would seem to be more correct in my view of Pokemon and how it does things. Pokemon changing types seems like a lot of work for the Pokemon company to take on, unless of course there are only certain Pokemon that can be able to do this. That would significantly cut the workload down a lot. Types in this case could generally and is generally interpreted to mean Pokemon types, like fire, water, grass, etc. But what if it meant a different type of a gimmick that we can use? This idea comes from a leak from 2017 regarding Generation 8, and it recently resurfaced because we can see a lot of commonalities between Generation 8 leaks and what we see actually happening in Scarlet and Violet. Blaines talks about this document in a few of his videos, so I'll only give a brief summary of it, but let's hop over to Pokemon Jungle to take a look at it. We can read from this article from 5 years ago that it says the Chinese localization team has already finished translating the game's script. Now this reportedly was the script for Sword and Shield, but it continues, there will be no new Mega Evolutions introduced in the new games, and Z moves return and now use motion controls to activate using the Joy-Cons. We know that these two ideas were scrapped for Pokemon Sword and Shield because obviously they aren't there, but Megas did however return for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, with no new Megas being added, so that information is true for Let's Go. Not a lot really stands out for this document until we take a second look at the Chinese Uncle write-up I brought up earlier. The Chinese Uncle notes that Scarlet and Violet has been pulling heavily from old and scrapped ideas. The game concept has been gestating for a while, in contrast to what the release date of 2022 would lead you to believe. One such scrapped idea here appears to be the return of Z moves. If that isn't interesting enough, let's pop back over to pokejungle.net for the remainder of that article. The next two bullet points read, the region inspiration has been rumored to be Spain or Italy. This is so crazy to me because we heavily believe, based on what we've seen so far, that the region is already based on Spain. The last point is the central plot revolves around the conflict between tradition and innovation. Having just seen the second trailer, we can already see the potential beginnings of this conflict with our esteemed professors. Slap those two together with their color scheming and box legendaries, and you start to see a picture of past versus future. These two Pokemon professors may actually be rivals as they each seek their ideal world, very similarly to Team Magma and Team Aqua. The evidence between these two documents seems to confirm one another and suggests the possibility of Z-moves and Megas coming back to the series. It is still possible at this point that the document is referring to Gigantamaxing for Generation 8, as that seems to be in essence a form of Mega Evolution and Z-moves put together with a scrapped motion control function. I understand how that could get confused. In support of Mega Evolution returning, however, Riddler Coup actually makes a few points about this. Let's take a look at some tweets from his Twitter to see what we're talking about. Here we have a tweet from Pumpkin Spice Cup reading, "Interesting how you didn't flat out deny the return of Megas." To which the Riddler replied, "On purpose," alluding that he knows information about it. Then we have this tweet from Victories, which reads, "Coup, could you tell us if Megas are coming back in any form, please?" To which he replies, "No comment on this, too early to say that much." Victories then replies, "Well, thanks for the answer, but it's weird because if they weren't, I'd say you'd come out and say they aren't. This gives me some hope, lol." Promoting Riddler Coup to confirm he knows something, because Titan got a new concept of that. I'm gonna tease it maybe in August or September, not the time now. So he's definitely holding out to bring some power with those leaks. Maybe needs a little bit more supporting evidence for it. To top all this off, we do have a lot of confirmed Pokemon returning so far, which at this point, that dex is looking pretty stacked for the return of Mega Pokemon. Not to mention that if this region was based on Spain, it should, in theory, share a border with the Kalos region where Mega Evolution is actively studied. With Riddler Coup confirming that we are getting a revamped version of Mega Evolutions in Scarlet and Violet, the possibility that we may see the return of Z-moves and Dynamaxing, perhaps we may end up getting all three. Meaning we could get to choose our gimmick or form that we want to use based on having our Pokemon hold a specific item, Megastone, Z-Crystal, or nothing. But if you've been following the card game for a little while, you may have heard of V-Star powers. This V-Star mechanic may be what the gimmick is. We see it in the Sword and Shield card game preceding the release of Scarlet and Violet. It makes sense. Pokemon often teases stuff like this in early releases for different products. So I could see that V-Star mechanic being similar or a cross between Z-moves and Mega Evolution for Scarlet and Violet. So if Mega Evolution is returning in a revamped form, what is that going to look like? How is that mechanic going to work? That is where the main theory part of this video comes in, so I hope you guys are still here. If you are and you're enjoying the content, please click that subscribe button to help my channel grow. We've been doing a lot of growth recently, and I'd like to see that continue to help my channel be the very best that it can be, and maybe catch up to some of the big guys. Let's dive into the rest of the theory, starting with what I think the mechanic is going to look like. That's where the second intriguing tidbit from the Chinese uncle's write-up actually comes into play. He notes the possibility that further hints lie within Pokemon Legends Arceus. With Pokemon Legends Arceus, we saw a lot of firsts for the franchise. We saw the semi-open world that we have. We saw overworld spawns and overworld shinies, some amazing feats for the Pokemon community. It is possible that this is what the doc referred to, but this doc was written after the first trailer for Scarlet and Violet already dropped. We already know it's going to be open world, so I don't think that's what it's referring to. So what else could it mean? Well, in PLA, we also see the space-time distortion phenomena. Hisui has several, 14 examples of Pokemon that existed in old Hisui natively, such as version of Hisui and Sneasel, Voltorb, Quillfish, and Growlithe, that don't exist in present-day Sinnoh. But as the game takes place in old Hisui, that's not near as important as the Pokemon we see that don't belong in old Hisui. We have Bastiodon, we have Shieldon, Cranidos, and Rampardos that all appear in that present time of Hisui, alive and well, to offset the lack of restoration technology for restoring those fossils that we get to enjoy in Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. We can already see that their fossilized remains are in the cave on Mount Coronet, so we do know that they're already dead in the present day of Hisui. We also have future Pokemon such as all of the Porygons and the Jotonian Sneasel making an appearance despite the lack of technology not existing for some of them to be made yet. With the aid of those space-time distortions, we see Pokemon appear in a time period and space where they don't normally belong and aren't attainable. What if the hints from Pokemon Legends Arceus tie into the gimmick mechanics of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? I think time travel is going to be off the table. Scarlet isn't going to take you to the past, and Violet isn't going to take you to the future, despite what many theories are going on about. It just isn't feasible. The only possibility of this happening is if you as the player journey to a city in each version, similar to how Black and White worked with the Black City and White Forest. Each game had a version exclusive city. That's about the extent of what I expect Game Freak would do with this type of time travel mechanic. Game Freak isn't out there about to make a past adventure in tandem with a future adventure that's completely different depending on what version you would choose. Those are two completely different games at that point. That would be way too much work for just one. If you are expecting this, then you're going to be disappointed. I'm sorry. Game Freak doesn't love our fans that much. I see something else happening. I see our two drastically different professors researching the exact same thing, time and its effect on the evolution of a Pokemon species, with their respective passions, one researching the past and the future. The box legendaries actually give us the biggest clue to this, as their names can represent time periods, with Miraidon basically being a future rideable dragon lord, and Koraidon being an ancient rideable dragon lord as well. Riddler Q also tweeted a picture of a clock, saying that the first trailer also teased the contrast concepts of the two titles, with many speculating that this meant time travel in the game. I think it's more likely that with the aid of the gimmick that we're going to have, we will be altering the evolutionary progression of our Pokemon, reverting them to their primitive forms or advancing them to a futuristic form. I want to give a quick shout out to Dusty Gogo over there on YouTube as well, another fellow YouTube Pokemon content creator. He actually put this theory out 2 days ago, and I just saw it as I was recording this video as well. He talks about this very idea I'm about to go into, so I will link it in the description below. Kudos to him for getting this out here first, but I actually talk about how I think the mechanic is going to work versus what those forms could be. Great video, by the way, man. Go check it out, guys. It's pretty awesome. I love some of the concept art that I found there. Returning to my video real quick, Professor Sada would be the authority on Pokemon primitive forms, while Professor Turo being the authority on futuristic forms. This is not to be confused with their evolutionary stage, as in Pichu, Pikachu, and Raichu, that evolutionary line, but the species' current form in their evolutionary journey to perfection. Think more along the lines of evolutionary adaptation, like a raptor evolving into a rooster over time, or humans developing gills in a flooded Earth situation. It's how the species evolves to survive their current conditions over millennium, not how they evolved into their next stage due to strength. This theory would coincide with Riddler Q's statement from earlier that Titan is getting a new concept of Mega Evolution. I'd say that this is similar to Groudon Kyogre's Primal and Palkia/Dialga's origin forms, something that they used to have that they no longer have. They were stronger then, but weaker now. Some immediate examples that come to mind from the Pokemon game is Magikarp and Ampharos. Both of these Pokemon received Mega Evolutions in their evolutionary line, but they also have something in common. Magikarp's Dex entry says in the distant past they were fairly strong, but they have become gradually weaker over time, while Ampharos's entry says massive amounts of energy intensely stimulated Ampharos's cells, apparently awakening its long-sleeping dragon's blood. Both of these Pokemon confirmed to have been stronger in some way in the distant past, with many other megas fitting into this exact same shtick. Charizard, Venusaur, Pinsir, and Heracross, to name a few that appear to revert back to a time period where they were stronger upon Mega evolving. There are also some Pokemon, some Megas, that seem to take evolutionary steps forward upon evolving, such as Scizor, Blastoise, Mewtwo, and Alakazam. These and other Pokemon could gain this revamped form of Mega Evolution in the form of the advancement or regression of their species' evolutionary course. But what do you guys think? Would it be cool to advance or revert the species of evolution of some of these Pokemon? Perhaps have the ancient Dunsparce dragon that has been teased for so long, or a Gyarados back when it was actually a dragon? How about advancing a species to a future point with smarter, more advanced capabilities than ever before? This could easily alter their typings, as Pokemon could need to have different capabilities in order to survive in the past or in the distant future. Let me know what Pokemon you would like to see gain this type of evolutionary mechanic in the comments below. I'm interested to see your guys' reaction to the Pokemon series and how this could adapt to the rest of the series for your favorite Pokemon. If you're really artistic and can draw those, head over to my Discord channel to drop a photo of those Pokemon for me to see. I would love to interact with you guys and see what you guys are all thinking. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this extremely long Pokemon theory video, and I hope to catch you in another one.